It's been an ongoing debate over the past few years as to if America should be the world's police. I've been doing some research over the past couple of days, and I've come up with my personal opinion. I've put together 10 different reasons as to why I think America should not be the world's police. So let's get started here with number 1. America has over 800 military bases stationed outside of their own country. Of all the other countries in the world, there are about 30 bases outside of their own countries. This is kind of dumb in my opinion. Why should we have bases all over to protect their countries, but they aren't helping protect themselves? We're also protecting ourselves as well as all sorts of other countries around the world. I think we should pull troops out of our bases all over the world, except for in places like Iraq and Syria because of ISIS, and in places like South Korea because of the large threat of Kim Jong-un. These are threats that affect our country directly right now and will become a big problem in the future if we were to pull our troops out of those areas. When the United Nations was first made, one of its tasks was to keep world peace. However, they have been proven to be very ineffective at doing that. America has stepped in and has kept the world peace pretty well, in my opinion. However, I think that they are spending a lot of military money unnecessarily, because why should we keep the world's peace? I think that if the United Nations isn't willing to step up and take charge and keep the world peace, and America does end up stopping the world's police, other countries would need to step up in order to keep it. I think that world peace is very important, and that everyone should pitch in and pay their own amount of money to have to step up and stop world crime. As I mentioned in the last reason, America has been forced to pay quite a bit of money in order to keep the world peace. And I think this is a bit of a problem. America has been focusing on our military too much and not enough on education. Our troops are being sent all over the world to solve people's problems and dying in the process, while our kids are failing in education here in our very own country. I think this is a very big problem, and another reason that America should not be the world's police. There are hundreds of thousands of people in America that are on government assistance. Whether that means they're on welfare or food stamps, you name it, there are a lot of people out there that need help. The government does what they can to help them. However, the amount of money that they have to help them with is very minimal. Not spending money on military across the globe would be very beneficial for helping those people that need assistance. So if we didn't have people in other countries fighting other people's wars, I think we could help those that are on welfare and such a lot more than we do right now. The US doesn't get enough help in terms of people trying to help America maintain the world peace. I think that if all the countries stepped up and tried to keep the peace within their own countries, I think there would be very minimal crime. We brought our troops out of Iraq and ISIS was created. However, we needed to bring those troops back to America. If Iraq would have been willing to step up and actually try to defend their own country, ISIS might not have been made. So I think that if everybody is willing to step up and spend the money that is needed, world peace could be maintained. America is one of the richest countries in the world. However, the national debt is quickly rising up to the 20 trillion mark. I think it wouldn't even be near that close if we didn't have to police the entire world. We shouldn't have to fight wars for other people. This is a big reason as to why we should stop being the world's police. Now you might be saying that some countries don't really have as much money as the US does, so that's why we should be in other countries fighting their wars. However, if there are countries that have wars going on, they should ask their allies for assistance rather than America. These countries are having problems controlling terrorism and other dangerous things, and their allies would most likely help them out if they asked for it. However, because we're in those countries already, they don't really need to ask their allies. This is a big problem, and I think that America should pull out and force countries to take charge by themselves. Going along with the last reason, I think that we should only help our own allies fight in wars and fight off crime. We are stationed all over the globe in places that don't even support us. Why should we protect their country if they don't even like us? Therefore, we should only have troops in countries that are allies with us, or maybe even pull troops out of those countries and only bring them back in if they ask for it and really need it. Reason number 9 as to why we should not be the world's police. In the year 2000, we spent around $400 billion on military. Just 10 years later, in 2010, the spending rose to over $700 billion. That's over a $300 billion increase. That's so much of an increase just to try to keep the world in line. Therefore, once again, we should pull our troops out of other countries and force them to be their own policemen. Now for the final reason. In countries like Germany and Japan, who were major powers during World War II, we have a lot of bases. The reasoning for that is because we didn't want them to become major superpowers again and create more world wars and try to expand their countries. But we don't really need those bases there anymore because their governments aren't corrupt anymore and they're settled down and don't really look like they want to take over the world. So if we pull out of those countries, then we'd be fine. Even if we don't pull out of every country in the world, I think it would be great if we could at least pull out of a few bases. It would help our national debt problem so much. And we should put our troops in areas that are actually going to do something.